care, like years of my life care about this. And we're going to go deep with a Harvard psychiatrist. And his name is Christopher Palmer. And he's just going and swinging for the fences saying, here's what's going on with mental illness. So, Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dave, for having me.
You're well known in keto circles because you said, hey, isn't it weird? We take psychiatric patients, we put them on a keto diet, and a lot of their psychiatric issues just go away. How was that received when you first started talking about this?
You know, it's interesting because I know other people have reported similar findings from the low-carb keto communities, and for the most part, they were written off. And I took a different approach, and I kind of knew from day one I would need to take a different approach because nobody would take this seriously. And so I ended up doing a really deep dive into the science of what we know about the ketogenic diet and how it stops seizures. And I really focused on the neuroscience of that. Mm-hmm. Changes in neurotransmitters and brain inflammation and calcium channel regulation, all sorts of things. And I used that evidence to support why the ketogenic diet might be having the effects on people that I was witnessing. And for the most part, it was extraordinarily well received, better received than I would have ever imagined. And some leading psychiatrists and neuroscientists quickly were jumping on the bandwagon and publishing their own scientific review articles about, hey, and some of them even kind of took credit for it all and like didn't cite any of the research that I or others had done.
Heaven forbid that there be people like that in academia, just like in the health influencer world.
I know, it's so hard to believe, but
you know, it's a compliment that the number of people who think they invented biohacking is interesting. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Exactly.
So I'm with you there. But you have guys like friends, Mark Hyman and David Perlmutter endorsing the book. And they're both very well-respected doctors and authors and things, which helps. And I do think you're a major leading voice in it. And plus you didn't just say like, you know, the keto diet is good for this stuff. You went mechanistically for it. And now in your book, Brain Energy, you're just saying straight up, we know what causes mental illness. So what causes mental illness? That's a baller statement, by the way.
It is ridiculously bold and audacious.
Will you indulge me for a second and imagine who you would be if you actually had more energy, if your brain fired faster and you could measure it, and you had a calmer nervous system that worked better? That's what this show, that's what my work is all about. You can be that person with a few fixes that really work. In my brand new book, Smarter, Not Harder, I will teach you about the little things that make the biggest difference in your life so you can be that person. There's a new anti-nutrient that you haven't heard about yet that is weakening everything you do, from your workouts to your meditations. You can remove it from your diet and you'll notice a shift quickly. Learn how to get the right amount of exercise for you in the very least amount of time, and it's way less than you think. Smarter, Not Harder is about simplicity and efficiency so you have more time to work on the things that matter to you. You can use the time to work on yourself or to help other people, but it's time that's yours that you're not using effectively right now. If you want to get your energy back like I did, you want to manage the stress so you can handle anything, maybe even drop the weight, check out Smarter, Not Harder wherever you buy books. This is stuff you haven't seen anywhere else. Smarter, Not Harder. Thank you for your support. What causes mental illness? That's a baller statement, by the way.
It is ridiculously bold and audacious if people really understand what I'm saying in the book. In a nutshell, I'm arguing that the cause of all mental disorders, and there's a difference between a mental disorder and normal human emotions or reactions. We all get depressed. We all get anxious. And those are hardwired responses in the human brain. But what I'm arguing is that when people have mental disorders, so when they have depression for no good reason, anxiety for no reason, ADHD symptoms, psychotic symptoms, bipolar symptoms, that the cause fundamentally is metabolic in nature. And I'm arguing that mental disorders are metabolic disorders. And in a way, it's kind of, it makes sense because metabolism is kind of everything in biology. So on one hand, it's kind of like some people have even said to me, like, you're not really saying much because metabolism is everything. So big deal, Chris Palmer. And yet in another way, once you see the big picture of metabolism and all of the things that influence metabolism, you actually can see novel ways to intervene. And you can also raise some red flags about some of our current treatments.
Well, it's interesting. You could say, well, no, mercury is the cause of certain types of mental disorders. And of course, mercury poisons mitochondria, which affects the metabolism in a specific way, right? And you can say, oh, it's allergies. Oh, that's funny. Do allergies affect metabolism via mast cells and regulatory cells? Yes. So I think you could, from a truth table perspective, say, all right, yeah. But do we know why metabolism is getting deranged or what to do about it?
I think we do. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of neuroscientists and psychiatrists know that the broad overarching theme is correct. And that research actually goes back a couple of centuries. This is nothing new. I am simply integrating decades and decades of clinical, genetic, neuroscience, neuroimaging, metabolic research, putting it all together, looking comprehensively at what do we know about the mental health field, and how can we put it together in a coherent way? So if you talk broadly about metabolism, people think about all of the different metabolic pathways and enzymes and Krebs citric acid cycle and all sorts of things, and it gets overwhelmingly complex. But if you really ask big picture questions like, but what exactly are the primary regulators of metabolism? Where is metabolism controlled in the human body or in a cell or whatever? You continuously get led to mitochondria. Mm-hmm. And once you understand mitochondria and the connections there, and mitochondria, it's like a whole new universe, so much that we have to learn, so much to understand about them. But once you understand the mitochondrial connection, that actually allows us to connect all of the dots of mental illness and the mental health field. And it allows us to say, in fact, mental disorders are definitely metabolic disorders. That means some type of derangement in mitochondrial function. And again, what's so powerful and important about it is that once you understand that they are the center of mental illness, you can start to see why do certain risk factors precipitate or cause mental disorders, but you can also understand novel ways to intervene. Mitochondrial dysfunction is not about inheriting a defective mitochondrion from your mother. Mitochondrial dysfunction is about environment and lifestyle factors adversely affecting them and their function.
It comes down to epigenetics. And in fact, biohacking is a clever restatement and expansion on that general idea. The definition, when I first launched it, was the art and science of changing the environment around you and inside of you so you have full control of your own biology, including your brain. Which means including your thoughts. And if you have the persistent negative thoughts, the super bad critic in your head, you can do all the laying on a couch you want and pay for someone's kids to go through college, but it might feel good, but it probably isn't going to fix the root problem. But if you stop eating crap that was inhibiting your mitochondria and got off the MSG that's causing electrical disturbances in the mitochondria inside the neurons in your brain, magically, you might just fix the problem and not have to lay on a couch.
Absolutely. 100% agree. And one of the beautiful things about the mitochondrial theory is that it also connects psychological and social factors that we know can play a role in mental disorders and also metabolic disorders. So childhood adversity, trauma, stress, they all impact mitochondrial function. And we've known for many decades that they also play a role in mental disorders, but they also play a role in things like premature cardiovascular disease. And again, the way to connect them is through mitochondria. So, so one mitochondrial researcher actually said, you think of a cell as a computer. A lot of people say the mitochondria are the power cord to that computer.
Not so.
They are definitely the power cord, but actually they're also the motherboard of that computer.
Yeah.
They are making strategic decisions about allocation of resources, both energy and mass, because when we eat, it starts to even get into E equals MC squared stuff, because when we eat food, it's either getting turned into energy that fuels our body, or it's getting turned into physical substrate to repair cells or grow new cells or whatever. And so we start looking at all of that kind of stuff, and mitochondria are critical in all of those kind of quote unquote decisions.
A lot of my last 5 years of work has been deducing what I think the operating system in mitochondria actually do. Like how do they make decisions? Because there isn't that much DNA in them. They don't have a lot of compute capacity or storage. So they're making simple decisions very, very quickly. Do you have thoughts about how they prioritize?
To be honest with you, it is a mind-blowing experience. The deeper the dive you do into mitochondria and the decisions or the algorithms that they're using, because mitochondria don't have brains, but yet they are behaving in certain ways. They are responding to the environment in certain ways. And when you actually do a really deep dive, it starts to mess with almost everything we know about biology. If you want, I'll give you one really obtuse example. Has nothing to do with psychiatry or brain energy, but there are some researchers here in the Boston area who are looking at flatworms, and they took a flatworm, they applied a magnetic field to this flatworm at a specific developmental point in time, and the flatworm ended up developing two heads. A head on both ends. That flatworm then can reproduce and reproduces a two-headed flatworm. Those flatworms reproduce and produce two-headed flatworms. If you ask any biologist now, where is that coded that a flatworm should have one head or two heads? Where is that coded? They would say it has to be in the DNA. It has to be in our genetics. And in fact, that study says that ain't so.
Yep.
And those researchers, I just happen to have a little bit of knowledge that those researchers are, right now they don't have an explanation. Where the hell is that being encoded, and how is it being transmitted along generations? Like, where is that information encoded? And right now the answer is no one knows. But the trail is quickly leading to mitochondria are somehow encoding that information that a flatworm should have two heads instead of one head, or one head instead of two heads, and how the hell that works, and how they know, because you're only transmitting gametes, and it's like mess. And so I don't really know how it would work. I don't think anyone does. But
there's definitely a magnetic thing going on, and there's probably information fields involved with it as well. where the mitochondria is setting up an information field where the tissues follow. And we know the disjoint bone experiments from running small amounts of electrical current that will cause tissues to grow, to regrow a fracture in a bone. A lot of this goes back to a book called The Body Electric that really changed my view of all this. When I was a computer hacker, a cyberpunk in the 90s, I read this book. I'm like, oh my God, we can hack human bodies. I know what governments and big companies are doing to computer systems and how hackers are stopping that. I think we need the same thing in humans because we're eminently hackable with electromagnetic frequencies. And not the stuff you see in a lot of movies, but we do respond at a quantum level. The study just came out about last month that showed that every time your heart beats, the proton spin of protons inside your brain actually changes on a per heartbeat basis, which is de facto proof that we're quantum beings. And when you take it from there and you say, well, I'm going to lay on a couch and smoke a cigar and say, tell me about your mother. I feel like there's a bit of a gap between those two realities. And I'm a little more attracted to the hacking one. I don't know about you.
No, absolutely. I am definitely more attracted to the hacking one.
Great sleep upgrades you on virtually every level: body fat, muscle mass, mood, brain function, and lots of other ways. One of the more powerful things you can do is feed your body natural melatonin building blocks and transformers known as cofactors. That way your body can naturally produce melatonin. I've been tracking my sleep for almost 15 years. And sometimes I think I'm going to run out of new ways to sleep better. My friends at Bioptimizers have come up with something new called Sleep Breakthrough. It's got all the right ingredients like vitamin B6, magnesium, and zinc that help with getting good quality sleep, and it targets 5 different sleep pathways, and I like it because it does it very quickly. It works so fast because it's got an easy delivery mechanism. All you do is mix 3 to 4 scoops in a cup of water and drink it right before bed. When you hack your sleep, you regain your power. You owe it to yourself to feel rested each day. Check out sleepbreakthrough.com/Dave. Use code DAVE10 for a special discount. That's sleepbreakthrough.com/Dave. Use code DAVE10. You might think that salt is something that you just add for flavor. It turns out the right kind of salt can have a really big impact on how you feel, even on your health. And I've recently discovered a new kind of desert salt, and it's from South Africa. It comes from an ancient underground salt lake that's in a remote part of the Kalahari Desert.
So first of all, before I begin describing this, good to talk with all of you again and be with you on the phone call. Just want everybody to know, perhaps I entered late, so I'm not sure if Roger mentioned it, but the new Restore is being bottled as we speak, and we'll be ready to go out the door after Christmas. So we are close to a week away, just maybe a day or so around, it could be the Monday right after Christmas, it could be the Saturday after Christmas, but right around there we're going to begin shipping out the new Restore. So we're very, very excited that we've gotten to the end of this development and the first production run. And we've set up so those production runs can continue as long as we can get it out to the people who need it. So anyway, Roger, the ingredients that were in the previous version of Restore, taro still bean, we had the lemon and orange oils, we had frankincense, of course the black seed oil and the olive leaf and the olive oil and the astaxanthin. And those were all geared toward doing specific tasks, even though they overlap in a broad approach to general mitochondrial wellness. People received some pain reduction, turning down of inflammation. People received emotional support, like you said, from those oils. But this time around, we were looking at feedback from people. We were looking at what we could do extra with this particular version of Restore. And one thing that came to mind upon many conversations was that there are a lot of fans of the Mind and Perform that we had made up until recently. And what would be nice is to not only maximize the benefits that we already had in Restore, turn those effects up, but also to add to them even more mitochondrial energy support for one thing. So to that extent, what we've done is we've added the majority of ingredients from Perform to this oil. So what are those ingredients and what do they do? Well, to make a long story short, those ingredients were designed to work together. There's a CoQ10. You have, that's in the form of ubiquinone. For those of you who know that, cellular mitochondrial support. We've got turmeric, which is, a lot of you have heard of curcumin. Turmeric is the root, the spice from which curcumin comes. There are water-soluble, alcohol-soluble, and oil-soluble portions of turmeric. And we've designed this to have the oil-soluble parts of the turmeric as well as some of the compounds similar to and including curcumin in it. Of course, astaxanthin, CoQ10, as I mentioned. We also have acetyl L-carnitine, arlopoic acid, and piperine, which were in the original Perform. Now, what are these there for? These ingredients all work synergistically together to boost mitochondrial health, to increase antioxidant support against free radicals in the cell, and in general, not only will raise your energy levels, but also will help all cell function to do what it needs to do, no matter what organ system it's in. So this should be a big, big energy boost, even over what you've experienced with the last Restore. So we are very excited about that. Next, I added ingredients that are considered adaptogenic. So an adaptogen is a substance that helps your body maintain homeostasis. That is to say, under conditions of stress, one way or another, your body will maintain its own health within the specs that it's designed to operate in, so that the conditions in your body don't drop too low, go too high. For example, cortisol, just to name one, is a hormone in your body produced by your adrenal glands, a fight and flight kind of response that can cause you to become overly stressed emotionally and physically and wear you down. So that needs to be able to be controlled so that you don't go into that fight or flight mode too easily. That's just one example. But in addition to that, these particular adaptogens that I've chosen are also incredibly good for endurance with regard to working out, or even if you don't work out, endurance with respect to an entire day, getting through it with an even energy level. These are some of the, for those of you who do work out, these are some of the same ingredients that Soviet and Chinese athletes used when they broke distance records at a couple of Olympics, and they were sort of the secret behind those performances. All of this, of course, is legal and entirely natural, but that's added to this so that your body really can have those same nutrients as the top-level athletes that were competing against other top-level athletes. Additionally, what we wanted to do is turn up the emotional aspect to this, that is to say, the calmness, and we've done that. We've added a couple of ingredients from Mind, a couple of ingredients that are actually in Mind, because some of you said, man, I wish we had Mind back and available for us. Well, we don't yet, but we've taken some of those key ingredients from Mind. Which particular ingredients? Well, we've taken ones that will help memory, that's Bacopa, that will help you recall certain things that you may have thought you forgot. One of those ingredients is Bacopa. And other ingredients that are designed to give you a calm focus. There's an ingredient from green tea called L-theanine, and that helps you when you drink tea. It's sort of the difference between getting jittery from coffee and drinking a black or green tea. L-theanine, along with the caffeine, modulates that response. It helps you to have a calmness along with it without the jitters. L-theanine is a brain food as well. It will help you with those feelings of calmness and help your neurotransmitters. So that's in there as well. So we've turned that up. We have other ingredients that are designed to work with your blood sugar support as before, so that's turned up. Blood pressure support, that's turned up. And ultimately, and a big one, that we've added to this, and some of these ingredients I've already named to go with this effect. But we have heard from people that pain relief was very quick and it was very effective. But some of you have said that you would like help with more substantial pain relief, maybe some systemic inflammatory effects or nerve pain to that extent. And we have designed this particular Restore to work with the endocannabinoid system, not using CBD, but with other ingredients. And these ingredients, one of them is magnolia extract. Magnolia extract is a very, very powerful anti-inflammatory. But what it additionally does is it works with your brain and it works with your central nervous system to turn down your perception of pain. So it doesn't just block the signal, but it actually turns down the inflammation and then deals with the pain signal as well that's getting to your brain. And another ingredient is a long one, palmitoethanolamide, or amide, depending on how you say it. But PEA is a very powerful ingredient that works with your endocannabinoid system in your body. In some ways is more powerful than CBD. And what that does is it takes the pain signals, the pain at your extremities, perhaps you have a neuropathy or in your extremities, or you have another nerve problem, or you have systemic pain from an old injury. It will take that pain and turn it right down. So working together with magnolia extract, what you have is a 1-2 punch to deal with the pain signals in your brain and deal with the pain in your extremities, the nerve pain or the chronic pain that you might be experiencing. And PEA is a tremendously powerful anti-inflammatory as well. So the other thing about the dual purpose of magnolia extract and PEA together are that they both increase your mood. They turn down anxiety and they turn up the good mood, and not in an artificial way. It does it using your body's own chemistry in a very natural way. If it's out of balance, it will correct that balance. So very, very excited about those effects. We believe that this version of Restore, the pain relief effect from it will be faster than it even was before, and way more powerful. And I believe that, to give you an example, some of you may have experienced back issues, back problems before. And I always like to tell Roger that when I know that some anti-inflammatory is working or pain relief is happening, if my back is really tight, it just has that tight feeling, I can't really turn it and stretch it very effectively, it won't crack, and nothing will happen. I know that something's working when my entire back just feels loose. It all loosens up, and I can stretch, I can do all that again. I anticipate that this version of Restore for you will have that same effect, and very rapidly. So to summarize, really what we've done is we've taken the 5 or 6 active ingredients that we had before. We have enhanced all of those effects, emotional effects, the pain relieving effects, the anti-inflammatory effects, the blood sugar support effects, the blood pressure support effects, and we've gone beyond that. The increased mood, pain relief, the ability of your body to maintain homeostasis, to deal with stress, the energy aspect to it will be turned way up. We've gone from, again, I don't know if Roger said this or not, but this new formula, even though the heart of it is the same, we have gone from about 5 or 6 active ingredients to 30. Now, that is not typical in most formulas. They don't stay the same or the same name. But I can tell you that the heart of this formula is exactly the same. The addition of these particular ingredients in specific amounts is the difference in going from amazing to spectacular, and not to hype it in a way that's inappropriate. But what I'm learning with these ingredients is as they work together and how we can incorporate them into an oil-based product is amazing, because we are able to use less, far less of any one single ingredient, but tune it far more specifically than almost any other technology that I've seen, perhaps different from any technology that I've ever seen, and Roger can attest to that. So I have the ability with this particular technology to tune each particular ingredient to work with the other ingredients in far smaller amounts than are normal in order to get very, very large effects that your body recognizes very, very quickly, and that's the XDS 2.0 technology. So we're very, very excited about the new Restore, very excited to get it out the door and begin shipping, and we're in that process right now, bottling and labeling and finalizing those to get ready to go out to you. So very excited about this Christmas time to be able to wish you a Merry Christmas and get this out the door as perhaps a little bit of a late present, but we do think a lot about all of you with health needs. We do pray for you, and we work hard to get these products out to you, to be able to bless you with that. So I'll give it back to you, Roger.
Thank you, Bevan. I want to just say something about the cannabinoid activators, those two ingredients that you had in there. One of the things we had to think about was the legality of putting CBD in our products. We decided not to put any of that in Restore, but he came up with what we think is a far better solution, and we can't wait for you to try that. We also have in development the next generation of Restore, the next generation of Rejuvenate, two versions of that that'll be coming through. That will use some of these same ingredients and others, but that will be the topical. So our real power pair, if you will, are Restore and Rejuvenate. So Rejuvenate, that will be the next second generation product.